Planetary Gods.
According to Pliny, the most surprising thing is that there is absolutely no reference to magic in the Iliad, although so much of the Odyssey is taken up with magic that it forms a major theme, unless people put another interpretation on the story of Proteus, the Songs of the Sirens.
Circe and the summoning of the dead from Hades. 79. Since the time of Homer, Greek literature was filled with the names of constellations, which for the most part, were translations or adaptations of the Babylonian names. However, of the relationship between Babylonia and ancient Greece, as Professor Cornford explains, influences were stressed instead of actual borrowings, and that more than one attempt was made in the 19th century to show that the Greeks borrowed the wisdom of the East, but when it was seen that the fascinating theory led its advocates beyond all bounds of historic possibility, the Orientalists were crushed in a sort of anti-Semite reaction. And they are only now beginning to lift their heads again. 80. As Franz Cumont remarks, the reality of Hellenic borrowings from Semitic sources remains nonetheless indisputable. At a distant date, Hellas received from the Far East a duodecimal or sexagesimal system of measurement, both of time and of objects. The habit of reckoning in terms of 12 hours, which we still use today, is due to the fact that the Ionians borrowed from the Orientals this method of dividing the day. Besides the acquaintance with early instruments, such as the sundial, they owed to the observatories of Mesopotamia the fundamental data of their celestial topography, the ecliptic, the signs of the zodiac, the majority of the planets. 81. Astrological thought in Greece was so prevalent, from the 5th century BC onward, that the general trend was to associate many of the Greek myths with the constellations. For every Babylonian god, a Greek god who bore some resemblance to him in character was substituted as ruler of the same planet. The Greeks had once worshipped many gods, and it was not until the 4th century BC that they settled on 12 as the most important, as featured in the frieze of the Parthenon, perhaps to accord with the number of signs in the zodiac. A Greek word meaning circle of life. Although this cannot be proven, in the 4th century BC, the Catalogue of Astronomical Information by Eudoxus of Cnidus, a pupil of Plato, though scientific in spirit, had adopted the vocabulary of myth, drawing on Babylonian data. Eudoxus, enumerating the 12 gods, assigned each one to a sign of the zodiac. These were Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Demeter, Apollo, Artemis, Aries, Aphrodite, Hermes, Athena, Hephaestus, and Hestia, the same 12 represented in the frieze of the Parthenon, except that Hestia was replaced with Dionysus. A century later, Aratus's poems on the stellar formations encouraged the same tendency. Each of the constellations were given mythological significance, and the signs of the zodiac were connected with heroes of fable.
Orion was the son of Poseidon who died when he was bitten on the heel by a scorpion.
His hunting companion, Artemis, pleaded with Zeus to place his image among the stars. The scorpion was given a constellation in the opposite side of the sky. Perseus, after slaying the Gorgon Medusa, rescued his lover Andromeda, daughter of the beautiful Ethiopian queen of Phoenicia. The first sign of the zodiac is Aries, the flying ram with the golden fleece. It is ruled by Mars, the god of war. Taurus was the form of the bull Zeus assumed to seduce Europa, or the bull killed by Hercules. While a number of labors were attributed to Hercules in prior centuries and in the Iliad, the number of 12 to accord with the zodiac was not resolved until the 5th century BC. The constellation of Hercules, who steps on the head of the serpent, Draco, was known as Bel, who killed the dragon Tiamat, and also Gilgamesh, whose myths gradually changed into the 12 labors of Hercules. Taurus is ruled by Venus, or Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Gemini has 2 leading stars that are named in honor of twin boys most famous for accompanying Jason in the Argo during his quest for the Golden Fleece. Cancer was a gigantic sea crab that attacked Hercules, and Leo is the Nemean lion he killed. Virgo, the Virgin, was known as Astraea, the daughter of Zeus and Themis before she became a constellation. Sagittarius, the archer, is a half-man, half-horse, called a centaur.
A centaur named Pholus helped Hercules hunt the Erymanthian boar.
Capricorn is associated with Pan. He and some other gods were feasting along the Nile, when Typhon attacked them.
The gods turned themselves into animals and fled, but Pan panicked and leapt feet first into the river, and that half of his body became a fish, while the other half became a goat.
The myth of Aquarius is related to Ganymede, who was so beautiful that Zeus abducted him into heaven, where he gained immortality and served as his cupbearer. Greeks of the classical age venerated Orpheus as the greatest of all poets and musicians. It was said that while Hermes had invented the lyre, Orpheus had perfected it. The herald staff of Hermes is an Asherah pillar, or the bronze serpents of Moses' poles with images of serpents which he had commanded the Israelites to erect to heal them from snake bites. The staff of Hermes, also known as the caduceus, now the modern symbol of medicine, was an image of 2 intertwined snakes, and a pair of wings attached to the staff above the snakes. The caduceus is related to the staff of the healer Asclepius, the Latin name of Hermes, who was the Greco-Roman god of medicine, son of Apollo. The centaur Chiron taught him the art of healing, but Zeus, afraid he might render men immortal, slew him with a thunderbolt. Though Homer mentions him in the Iliad only as a skillful physician, he was eventually honored as a hero and worshipped as a god. However, the man scholars believe to have been most likely responsible for bringing astrology to Greece was Berosus, a priest of Bel-Marduk who established himself at the school of astrology on the island of Kos about 280 BC. His lost Babyloniarca, dedicated to the Seleucid ruler Antiochus I, survives only in fragments quotes by later Greek writers, who were later cited by Eusebius and Josephus. In his first book he describes the land of Babylonia, to which the half-man, half-fish Oans and other divinities came out of the sea to teach men the rudiments of civilization. The second and third books contained the chronology and history of Babylonia and Assyria, beginning with the 10 kings before the flood, then the story of the flood itself, and finally the story of the Assyrians, the last Babylonian kingdom, and the Persians. Using the Babylonian unit of time, he maintained that between the first ascent of kings and the flood was a period of 120 Sar or 432,000 years. From creation to the final conflagration will be 600 Sar, or 1 Sar times 1 N or 2,160,000 years, and from Alexander to the final conflagration, 12,000 years. 82. In the 5th century BC, the doctors from the Greek island of Kos attained a high reputation, calling themselves Asclepiadae, descendants of Asclepius. The founder of the Asclepiada was Hippocrates, born in 460 BC, known as the father of medicine. Little is known of Hippocrates' life, and there may have been several men of his name, or he may have been the author of only some, or none of the books that comprise the Corpus Hippocraticum. The Asclepiadae may have been introduced to Chaldean doctrines by Berosus, who had taught the myth of Oannes, who, like Thoth and Hermes, was attributed the role of having taught the arts of civilization to humanity. 1 F. M. Cornford. From Religion to Philosophy, A Study in the Origins of Western Speculation, Princeton University Press, 1991, p. 126. 2. West. The East Face of Helicon, A West Asiatic Elements in Greek Poetry and Myth, Oxford Clarendon Press, 1997, p. 59. 3. Walter Burkitt. The Orientalizing Revolution, Near Eastern Influence on Greek Culture in the Early Archaic Age, Cambridge, Mass., Harvard University Press, 1992, p. 4. 4. Diodorus Siculus. Excel 3.2. 5. Forging an Identity, The Oxford History of the Biblical World, p. 128. 6. Dobbin. Kabbalistic Astrology, p. 109. 7. Histories, vi. 54. 8. Cited in Martin Bernal.
Black Athena, Volume 1, The Fabrication of Ancient Greece 1785, 1985, New Jersey, Rutgers University Press, 1987, p.
110.
9. Cited in Bygent, Lee and Lincoln. Holy Blood, Holy Grail, p. 277.
10. Cited in Eusebius.
Preparation for the Gospel, vi. X. p.
279a. 11. Bernal. Black Athena, p. 99.
12. Mary Boyce.
A History of Zoroastrianism, Volume 2, Under the Achaemenians, Leiden, E. J. Brill, 1982, p.
232.
13. M. L. West. The Orphic Poems, Clarendon Press, 1983, p. 178. 14. Pliny. Natural History, p. 269. 15. 7.330, fr. 18. Cited in W. K. C. Guthrie. Orpheus and Greek Religion, Princeton, The University of Princeton Press, 1993, p. 61. 16. Plato. The Republic 364b-365a. 17. Orphica, cited in James H. Charlesworth, ed. The Old Testament Pseudepigrapha, Apocalyptic Literature and Testaments, Volume I and II, New York Doubleday, 1983, p. 799. 18. Eusebius.
Praeparatio Evangelica, 9.27.1-37.
19. Bertrand Russell. A History of Western Philosophy. London, Unwin Paperbacks, 1984, p. 37. 20. Clement of Alexandria. Exhortation to the Greeks 2.12. 21. Clement. Protreptic 34.5 quoted fr. Patricia Curd, ed. and Richard D.
McKiran Jr., trans.
A Pre-Socratics Reader, Selected Fragments and Testimonia, Indianapolis, Cambridge, Hackett Publishing Company Inc., 1995 p. 39. 22. Adid. 23. Trans. Franklin Philip, Cambridge, Harvard University Press. 1999, p. 23. 24. Joseph Campbell. Masks of God, Creative Mythology, Volume 4, London, Arcana, 1995 p. 267.
25. Eusebius. Preparation for the Gospel.
2, I, p. 48 c. 26. Herodotus.
Histories. 2.
171. 27. Charles Penglay's
Greek Myths and Mesopotamia, Parallels and Influence in the Homeric Hymns and Hesiod, New York, Routledge Press, 1994, p.
127.
28. Walter Burkett.
The Orientalizing Revolution, Near Eastern Influence on Greek Culture in the Early Archaic Age. Trans.
Pinder, Margaret E. and Burkett, Walter, Cambridge, Mass., Harvard University Press, 1992, p.
5. 29. Burkett. The Orientalizing Revolution, p. 94.
30. Arnaldo Momigliano.
Alien Wisdom, The Limits of Hellenization, Cambridge, Cambridge University Press, 1971, p. 126. 31. Simplicius. Commentary on Aristotle's Physics, 164.24-25, 156.13-157.4, cited in a Pre-Socratics Reader, p. 57. 32. Aristotle. Metaphysics 1.5987a 13, a Pre-Socratics Reader, p. 21. 33. Menippus 6, cited in Kingsley. Ancient Philosophy, Mystery and Magic, Empedocles and Pythagorean Tradition, Oxford Clarendon Press, 1995 p. 226.
N.
33.
34. Kingsley.
Ancient Philosophy, Mystery and Magic, p. 227. 35. Pliny. Natural History, XXX, 8. 36. Franz Cumont. Astrology and Religion Among the Greeks and Romans, Montana, Kessinger Publishing Company, 1912 p. 47. 37. Histories, 3, 139. 38. Library of History, 1.96. 39. Porphyry. The Life of Pythagoras 1. 40. Ibid 12. 41. Ibid 3. 42. Josephus. Against Apion, p. 614. 43. F. M. Cornford. From Religion to Philosophy, A Study in the Origins of Western Speculation, Princeton, Princeton University Press, 1991, p.176. 44. Russell. A History of Western Philosophy, p. 49. 45. Momigliano. Alien Wisdom, p. 142. 46. I. 121 cited in Boyce. Textual Sources for the Study of Zoroastrianism, p. 107. 47. Diogenes Laertius. Lives of Eminent Philosophers, 3, 6-7. 48. Momigliano. Alien Wisdom, Cambridge, Cambridge University Press, 1971, p.143. 49. Natural History, XXX, 3. 50. Eusebius. 13.1 2.1 f. 51. Eusebius. Preparation for the Gospel, IX, Vi, p. 411a. 52. Peter Kingsley. Meetings with the Magi, Iranian themes among the Greeks, from Xanthus of Lydia to Plato's Academy. Journal of the Royal Asiatic Society 5 p. 204. 53. Proclus. In Rem Publicum Platonis, cited from Bides and Cumont. Les Majors Hellenizes, t. 2 p. 159. 54. Stromata, Book 5 Chap 14. 55. Timaeus, vi. 136. 56. Plato. Phaedrus 265a. 57. Plato. Symposium 203a. 58. Plato.
Phaedrus 244a.
59. Plato. Phaedrus 244b. 60. Plato.
Phaedrus 265 BC.
61. Plato. Symposium 242c. 62. Plato. Symposium 211 BD, cited in Julia Ustinova. Divine Mania, Alteration of Consciousness in Ancient Greece. Routledge 2018, p. 297. 63. Julia Ustinova. Divine Mania, Alteration of Consciousness in Ancient Greece. Routledge 2018, p. 296. 64. The Republic, 423e 424e. 65. Ibid, Book 7. 66. Gorgias. 67. Notes and Queries, Precession of the Equinoxes discovered by the Babylonians. Neptune. Journal of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, Volume 21, 1927, p. 215. Fotheringham, J. K. The Indebtedness of Greek to Chaldean Astronomy. The Observatory, Volume
51, 1928, p.
301 to 315. 68. Plato. Timaeus, 22c. 69. Plato. Phaedrus 252c. 70. Bides and Cumont. Les Majors Hellenizes, p. 91. 71. A. H. Armstrong. An Introduction to Ancient Philosophy, London, Methuen and Company. 1957, p. 125. 72. Anthony A. Long.
Hellenistic Philosophy, Stoics, Epicureans, Skeptics, New York, Charles Scribner's Sons, 1974, p.
212. 73. Bides and Cumont.
Les Majors Hellenizes, p.
218. 74. Ibid 2, p. 361, Note 2. 75. Bunderhetian, Chap. XXX. 76. Nicholas Campion. The Great Year, Astrology, Millenarianism and History in the Western Tradition, London, Arcana, Penguin Books, p. 243. 77. Anthony Long. The Stoics on World Conflagration and Everlasting Recurrence. The Southern Journal of Philosophy, 1985, Volume 23, Supplement, p. 18. 78. Seneca. Naturales Questiones, 3.29.1. 79. Pliny.
Natural History, XXX, 5-6.
80. Cornford. From Religion to Philosophy, p. 2. 81. Cumont. Astrology and Religion Among the Greeks and Romans, p. 42. 82. Campion. The Great Year, London, Arcana, Penguin Books, p. 98.